Hey, what's up? It's Bond. Let's talk about Mass Effect. We're going to talk about the next protagonist for the next game and who I think it should be or could be. But first, if you like Mass Effect, if you like video games, if you want weekly videos, if you even want a podcast that talks about Mass Effect a lot, please subscribe to this channel. Please like the video if you do, and please comment down below with your thoughts on what I talk about today. So the protagonist for Mass Effect 4, 5, whatever we're going to call it. Look, the obvious answer for me is Commander Shepard is back, but we're going to talk about that at the end. What I want to talk about instead are the other possibilities, because there's a very real chance, and I would say it's almost maybe likely at this point, depending on how you look at it, that we may not play as Commander Shepard again. I think some people would be overjoyed by that. Others would be devastated. I definitely consider myself part of that second group, but it's at least worth considering because we have no idea right now. And until we know, we can speculate. And that's what we're going to do right now. So the best idea I've come up with, like to satisfy my own personal desires for the next game, is definitely that we get I think a fresh N7 graduate from the academy, and the council is desperate. The Citadel Council is desperate for specters or help from any of the races. The Citadel is in Earth space now. It's orbiting Earth. It's in the Sol system, and so it's only natural that the Alliance's best troops are going to be relied upon immediately as maybe temporary specters or stand-in specters, or maybe permanent ones. So I think we play as an exceptional N7 student who just graduated. This allows us to make a new character, to not have to worry about, you know, the legacy and all that. It's just this new character straight out of boot camp, and but highly capable, and highly recommended to the council to become a Spectre right off the bat. And because in their desperation they do it, and they assign this Spectre and this, or maybe they're just an N7, who knows, to some kind of mission that involves Liara T'Soni and their crew. And so we could play as someone who maybe isn't necessarily a commander. Maybe they are someone who, at least to begin the game, is taking orders from other people, reminiscent to Mass Effect 1, where Shepard isn't quite Shepard yet, but we're getting there. I like this idea because I really do believe that this is I think Mass Effect is a human-based game that's telling human stories from a human perspective. I know one of the other things I've seen people talk a lot about is getting to play as an alien, getting to pick what, you know, species you are and things like that. I think there's a lot of logistical issues. I don't want that to have to deal with that. Things that I think would delay the game or maybe dilute the story because of how they would have to take into account, you know, a playthrough with you playing as a Drell would play out a lot different than if you're an Asari or a Solarian or a human or a Turian. And so for me, it's simply the logistical scale of making a game that can take all of those things into account would be really hard. And I know someone will say, well, they do it in Dragon Age and blah, 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 or other games, Skyrim, things like that. But I don't care. It's as simple as that. I don't care about that. I think this game, I still believe it's coming sooner than people probably think. And I think that something like, you know, only allowing people to be humans is probably a big time saver, as opposed to letting people pick other ones. I also think from a franchise and story / lore perspective, it's just, I just believe Mass Effect is a human franchise told from a human perspective. And I'm pretty staunch on that. I don't really think that we need to do anything different. I would think it's really cool if maybe we had like an Inquisition system where during combat you could maybe play as your comrades, as your squad mates, and so people could get that experience of playing as other species, but maybe not necessarily playing through the game as them being the protagonist. Now, I understand, like I've seen people who want to be Ryder again or want this next game to be an Andromeda and stuff. I think we kind of need to leave the Ryder thing behind, even whether you like that or not. I think that was just kind of a stain on the franchise, and I do believe we'll revisit Andromeda one day, but I doubt we're going to play as Ryder again. I suspect they'll try to reframe some of those things. And in Andromeda, I really think that everything we've seen so far about this next game just screams Milky Way. I think Mike Gamble has been very clear that they are not going to forget about Andromeda, and so I do expect some kind of crossover. But I still I don't know. I'm not buying in yet to that, but we'll know sooner than later. So I opened it up by saying, if we aren't going to play as Commander Shepard, well, we could. And I believe there have been multiple hints, basically in every teaser, to us potentially getting Shepard back. Now, I'm in kind of a weird spot where I am someone who does want Shepard back, but I want Shepard back under such strict rules that it makes me worry that it's not going to happen. I don't want Commander Shepard to be cloned. I don't want to play as their child. I don't want them to be sent through time and space to Andromeda. I don't want them to be cryo-frozen for 1,000 years and brought back when Liara's on her deathbed or something. If they bring back Shepard, they need to be the protagonist. And I believe it needs to be set shortly after Mass Effect 3. And shortly could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, even 15 or 20 years, to kind of give some time for the universe to get back in order a little bit, so that we don't have to play a game that's only set in a Sol system because the relays are broken. I don't want all the goofy stuff. My biggest issue is that I wonder if they're really going to be willing to tackle the time frame right after Mass Effect 3. They so badly didn't want to do that after Mass Effect 3 came out that they considered a First Contact war game, and then ended up doing a game that takes place in a different galaxy because they were so desperate to avoid dealing with the Mass Effect 3 ending problem. So I definitely want it to be Shepard again. I think Shepard, whether it's F-Shep or M-Shep, would be the best introduction to a whole new generation of gamers. I really believe the Legendary Edition probably brought a lot of people into the franchise, young and old, including myself, who had never played the series before. I just really think that being able to play a Shepard again would just be a good bridge for everyone. It's a big nostalgia hit for OG fans. Obviously there's the people out there who don't want that, but I think more people who don't want to play as Shepard will end up still playing the game than people who want to play as Shepard. If we don't play as them, I think a lot of those people will bounce, because if you look at the subreddit, if you look at Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all of the social media, it's always such a, I feel like it's kind of misrepresentative of the overall community very often. The social media platforms will often have fans who are like the most extreme of the most extreme. But what we forget is that, those type of people, who I would include myself in, make up like 5 to 10% of the community, and more so only make up a small percentage of the people who buy the game. We need to remember that I bet 85, 90, maybe more than 90% of gamers are people who buy a game, play through it once, never touch it again. And so while a bunch of us who bicker and argue and get into, all these conversations about, Mass Effect lore and what should happen in the next game and about the endings of Mass Effect 3, we need to realize that the number of people who are passionate about those subjects is actually pretty small. And the vast majority of players aren't like us, and they're the ones who need to buy the game to make the game profitable and to make EA happy and to keep BioWare open. And so I think, what we need to consider, I think, is at least consider the idea that they are going to make the decisions that are going to make the game sell the best. And I believe that introducing a new protagonist in this next Mass Effect game, after what happened with Andromeda, is probably not going to be the ideal choice in their view, and that bringing back good old Shepard is the best way to do it. And I think that's what's going to happen. One, because I want it, and so I'm definitely biased. But two, because I think financially it makes the most sense, unless my original idea about this fresh N7 recruit that you can make your own, I could see them also believing that's the right way to do it. The last thing I'll say is that no matter what they do, I do not want an NPC Shepard. If we don't play as Shepard, I want Shepard dead. Because it wouldn't be right. It would feel weird, but that's just my opinion. So let me know what you thought about this down in the comments. If you like the video, please do. If you like Mass Effect, if you want me to speculate more on that and talk more about it, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I also have a weekly podcast where I talk about gaming news, big gaming topics I think are worth discussing, and I also answer listener questions. So check out the Echo Cast right here on YouTube or on all podcast platforms. You can find me as Bond Diesel on most social media places, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, probably some other places I've forgotten about, and add me on all those places. We're getting really close to the 3,000 out of 4,000 hour mark to get this channel verified and partnered and monetized, even though I won't make much money off of it. It's the goal for this year and we're getting there. So thank you for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. That's all I have for this one. So until next time.